In the midst of crowds, I often find myself alone. These words, penned by Henry David Thoreau, resonate deeply with many in today's fast-paced and digitally driven world. Despite the illusion of constant connectivity, millions of individuals find themselves grappling with profound feelings of loneliness and isolation. But what if, instead of being a mere absence of companionship, the lack of friends actually holds a deeper meaning? In this episode, we embark on a journey to explore the hidden depths of solitude and the true implications of not having friends. We'll uncover the multifaceted nature of loneliness, dissect the paradox of digital connectivity, challenge misconceptions surrounding solitude, and ultimately, discover the transformative power of genuine human connection. So, join us as we unravel the mysteries of the human heart and uncover what the lack of friends actually means in our lives. Chapter 1: The Paradox of Digital Connectivity. In an age where the world is seemingly at our fingertips, the irony of loneliness looms large. We live in an era where we are more connected than ever before, yet the epidemic of loneliness persists, casting a shadow over the digital landscape. The advent of social media promised to shrink the vast distances between us, offering a virtual bridge to connect with friends, family, and even strangers across the globe. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter have become integral parts of our daily lives, providing avenues for communication, sharing experiences, and building communities. Yet, despite the illusion of constant connection, many find themselves feeling increasingly isolated and alone. The paradox lies in the nature of digital interactions. While social media platforms facilitate communication and foster connections, they often do so at the expense of genuine intimacy and meaningful relationships. Behind the screens, interactions become filtered and sanitized, stripped of the nuances and complexities of face-to-face communication. Emoticons replace genuine expressions, like stand-in for heartfelt conversations, and followers become substitutes for true friends. Moreover, the curated nature of social media exacerbates feelings of inadequacy and loneliness. As we scroll through carefully crafted posts and meticulously edited photos, we are bombarded with images of seemingly perfect lives, fueling comparison and self-doubt. We measure our worth in likes and shares, seeking validation from strangers while yearning for authentic connection. In this digital age, the line between connection and isolation becomes blurred. We may have hundreds or even thousands of online friends, yet still feel profoundly alone. The lack of meaningful, face-to-face interactions leaves us craving deeper connections, longing for the warmth of human touch and the comfort of genuine empathy. As we navigate this brave new world of digital connectivity, it becomes increasingly important to recognize the limitations of virtual relationships and prioritize authentic connections. True friendship transcends the digital realm, requiring time, effort, and vulnerability. It is in the shared moments of laughter and tears, the heartfelt conversations, and the unspoken understanding that true connection is found. In the face of digital isolation, we must strive to cultivate meaningful relationships that nourish the soul and remind us of our shared humanity. Only then can we bridge the gap between digital connectivity and genuine connection, finding solace in the company of true friends amidst the noise of the online world. Chapter 2: The Myth of Quantity over Quality. In our quest for companionship, we often fall into the trap of valuing quantity over quality when it comes to friendships. We measure our social worth by the number of friends we have on social media, the size of our social circles, or the frequency of our social engagements. Yet, amidst the sea of acquaintances and superficial connections, the true value of friendship is often lost. The truth is, the number of friends we have does not necessarily correlate with our level of happiness or fulfillment. While a large social network may provide a sense of popularity or belonging, it does not guarantee genuine connection or intimacy. In fact, spreading ourselves too thin across numerous friendships can leave us feeling emotionally drained and disconnected. Instead of focusing on accumulating friends like trophies, we should prioritize cultivating deep, meaningful relationships with a select few. True friendship is not about the quantity of interactions, but the quality of those interactions. It is about finding individuals who accept us for who we are, support us through life's ups and downs, and enrich our lives in profound ways. Quality friendships are built on a foundation of trust, mutual respect, and shared values. They are forged through meaningful conversations, shared experiences, and acts of kindness and support. Unlike superficial connections, genuine friendships withstand the test of time and adversity, growing stronger with each passing year. By investing our time and energy in nurturing these meaningful relationships, we can experience the true joy and fulfillment that friendship brings. Rather than spreading ourselves thin across a wide network of acquaintances, we can focus on cultivating deep, meaningful connections that enrich our lives and nourish our souls. In a world that often prioritizes quantity over quality, let us remember that true friendship is a precious gift that cannot be measured by numbers alone. It is the depth of connection, not the breadth, that ultimately brings meaning and fulfillment to our lives. Chapter 3: The Power of Authentic Connection. In our fast-paced, digitally driven world, genuine human connection has become increasingly rare. We live in an era of likes, comments, and shares, where social interactions are often reduced to superficial exchanges conducted through screens. In this age of hyperconnectivity, we may find ourselves surrounded by people, yet still feeling profoundly alone. The truth is, true connection cannot be cultivated through a screen or measured in the number of online followers. Authentic connection requires vulnerability, empathy, and genuine presence. It is forged through meaningful face-to-face interactions, where we can see and be seen, hear and be heard, and truly connect on a soul level. When we lack deep, meaningful friendships, we may find ourselves feeling isolated, misunderstood, and disconnected from others. We may long for someone who truly understands us, accepts us for who we are, and shares our values and interests. Yet, in our quest for connection, we may overlook the importance of being authentic and vulnerable ourselves. Authentic connection begins with self-awareness and self-acceptance. It requires us to show up as our true selves, flaws and all, and to allow others to do the same. It is about being honest about our thoughts, feelings, and experiences, and having the courage to open ourselves up to others without fear of judgment or rejection. When we are willing to be vulnerable and authentic in our interactions, we create space for genuine connection to flourish. We allow others to see us for who we truly are, and we invite them to do the same. In this space of authenticity, true friendship can blossom, grounded in mutual trust, respect, and understanding. Authentic connection also requires us to be fully present in our interactions with others. In a world filled with distractions and multitasking, being truly present with someone can be a rare and precious gift. Yet, it is in these moments of presence that we forge the deepest connections, where we feel truly seen, heard, and valued. As we cultivate authentic connections in our lives, we may find that our need for a large social network diminishes. We come to value quality over quantity, cherishing the few meaningful relationships we have over the numerous superficial ones. We may find that even in the absence of a large circle of friends, we feel deeply fulfilled and connected to others in ways we never thought possible. In a world that often prizes surface-level interactions over genuine connection, let us remember the power of authenticity. Let us strive to cultivate meaningful relationships built on vulnerability, empathy, and genuine presence, knowing that true connection is the antidote to loneliness and the key to a rich and fulfilling life. Chapter 4: Embracing Solitude. Solitude is often misunderstood in our society. It's viewed as loneliness, isolation, or a lack of social connection. But solitude is much more than that. It's an opportunity for self-discovery, introspection, and personal growth. In a world that's constantly buzzing with activity and noise, solitude offers a rare chance to quiet the mind and listen to the whispers of our inner selves. It's a time to reflect on our thoughts, feelings, and experiences without the distractions of the outside world. When we embrace solitude, we give ourselves the space to explore our interests, passions, and curiosities. We have the freedom to engage in activities that bring us joy and fulfillment, whether it's reading a book, going for a walk in nature, or pursuing a creative hobby. Solitude also allows us to recharge and rejuvenate our spirits. It's a time to rest and replenish our energy reserves, away from the demands and expectations of others. It's an opportunity to prioritize self-care and nourish our minds, bodies, and souls. But perhaps most importantly, solitude teaches us to be comfortable in our own company. It reminds us that we are enough, just as we are, and that we don't need constant external validation or companionship to feel whole. In a world that often equates busyness with productivity and socialization with happiness, embracing solitude can be a radical act of self-love and self-acceptance. It's a way of affirming our worthiness and honoring our need for quiet, reflective moments in a noisy, chaotic world. So let us embrace solitude not as a punishment or a sign of failure, but as a precious gift that allows us to deepen our connection with ourselves and the world around us. Let us cherish these moments of stillness and silence, knowing that they are essential for our growth, healing, and well-being. Chapter 5: Finding Meaning in Solitude. In the solitude of our own company, we often discover a profound sense of meaning and purpose that transcends the noise and distractions of the outside world. It's in these quiet moments that we can truly connect with our deepest desires, values, and aspirations. When we embrace solitude, we give ourselves the space to reflect on the things that matter most to us. We can explore our passions, cultivate our talents, and pursue our dreams with clarity and focus. It's a time to ask ourselves important questions about who we are, what we stand for, and what we want to contribute to the world. Solitude also provides an opportunity for spiritual growth and introspection. It's a chance to connect with our inner wisdom and intuition, to listen to the whispers of our soul and align ourselves with our highest purpose. In the quietude of solitude, we can cultivate a deeper sense of connection with something greater than ourselves, whether it's nature, the universe, or our own inner divinity. But finding meaning in solitude isn't just about introspection and self-discovery. It's also about connecting with others in more meaningful and authentic ways. When we take the time to nourish our own souls, we become better equipped to show up fully present and engaged in our relationships with others. We can offer our love, compassion, and support from a place of inner strength and abundance, rather than from a place of neediness or insecurity. In a world that often values external achievements and social status above all else, finding meaning in solitude is a radical act of rebellion. It's a refusal to buy into the myth of constant busyness and productivity, and instead to prioritize our own well-being and fulfillment. It's a declaration that our worthiness is not determined by our accomplishments or the approval of others, but by the depth of our own inner wisdom and the richness of our inner lives. So let us embrace solitude as a sacred space for finding meaning and purpose in our lives. Let us honor the quiet moments of reflection and introspection as opportunities for growth, healing, and transformation. And let us remember that true fulfillment comes not from external achievements or accolades, but from the deep sense of meaning and connection we cultivate within ourselves and with the world around us. Chapter 6: Embracing Self-Reliance. In a world where interdependence is often celebrated, there's an undeniable power in self-reliance. It's the ability to stand tall and strong on our own 2 feet, to navigate life's challenges with confidence and resilience, knowing that we have the inner resources to weather any storm. Self-reliance is about trusting ourselves and our instincts, even when the world around us is uncertain and unpredictable. It's about taking ownership of our lives and our choices, refusing to be swayed by the opinions or expectations of others. It's about cultivating a deep sense of self-confidence and self-assurance that allows us to pursue our goals and dreams with unwavering determination. But self-reliance doesn't mean going it alone. It's about knowing when to ask for help and when to lean on others for support, while still maintaining our independence and autonomy. It's about building strong relationships based on mutual respect and reciprocity rather than dependency or neediness. Self-reliance also means taking responsibility for our own well-being and happiness. It's about recognizing that we alone are responsible for our own lives, and that we have the power to shape our destinies through our thoughts, actions, and choices. It's about cultivating a sense of inner strength and resilience that allows us to bounce back from setbacks and failures, stronger and more determined than ever before. In a world that often values conformity and dependence, self-reliance is a radical act of self-empowerment. It's a declaration that we are the captains of our own ships, the masters of our own destinies. It's a refusal to be defined by external circumstances or the expectations of others, and instead to chart our own course in life, guided by our own inner compass. So let us embrace self-reliance as a path to greater freedom, fulfillment, and authenticity. Let us trust in our own abilities and intuition, knowing that we have everything we need within us to create the lives we desire. And let us remember that true strength comes not from relying on others, but from trusting in ourselves and the limitless potential that lies within. Chapter 7. The Myth of Loneliness. Loneliness is often portrayed as a silent epidemic, a modern affliction that plagues individuals in our hyper-connected world. But what if loneliness is not the problem, but merely a symptom of a deeper issue? What if, instead of fearing loneliness, we embraced it as an opportunity for self-discovery and growth? In reality, loneliness is not the absence of others, but the absence of connection to ourselves, to others, and to the world around us. It is a state of disconnection that leaves us feeling isolated, alienated, and adrift in a sea of faces. But what if we reframed loneliness as solitude, a conscious choice to be alone, to disconnect from the noise and distractions of the world, and reconnect with ourselves? What if we saw solitude not as a punishment, but as a gift, an opportunity to cultivate self-awareness, creativity, and inner peace? In solitude, we have the space and freedom to explore our inner landscape, to confront our fears and insecurities, and to rediscover our true selves. It is in the silence of solitude that we can hear the whispers of our own hearts and find clarity amidst the chaos of life. But solitude does not mean isolation. It is possible to be alone without feeling lonely, to cultivate deep connections with ourselves and others, even in the absence of physical presence. It is a state of inner peace and contentment that transcends the limitations of time and space. So let us embrace solitude as a path to self-discovery and growth. Let us cherish the moments of quiet reflection and introspection, knowing that they are the crucible in which our true selves are forged. And let us remember that in the stillness of solitude, we can find the connection and belonging that we so desperately seek. Chapter 8. Building Authentic Connections. In a world filled with superficial interactions and digital distractions, authentic connections have become increasingly rare. We live in a society where likes and followers are valued more than genuine human connection, and where the depth of our relationships is often measured in characters and emojis. But true connection goes beyond the surface level. It is built on a foundation of trust, vulnerability, and mutual respect, qualities that are increasingly scarce in our fast-paced, hyper-connected world. To build authentic connections, we must first be willing to be vulnerable, to show up as our true selves, flaws and all, and to let others see us as we truly are. It is in our moments of vulnerability that we forge the deepest connections, as we open ourselves up to others and invite them to do the same. But vulnerability alone is not enough. We must also cultivate empathy, the ability to truly listen and understand others, to see the world through their eyes, and to validate their experiences and emotions. Empathy is the bridge that connects us to others, allowing us to forge meaningful connections based on understanding and compassion. Authentic connections also require honesty and integrity. We must be willing to speak our truth, even when it is uncomfortable or unpopular, and to act with integrity in all of our interactions. Trust is the bedrock of any relationship, and it can only be built through honesty, consistency, and reliability. Finally, authentic connections require time and effort. They cannot be rushed or forced, but must be nurtured and cultivated over time. We must be willing to invest in our relationships, to show up consistently, and to prioritize connection over convenience. In a world that often feels disconnected and fragmented, authentic connections are more important than ever. They remind us of our shared humanity, and they give meaning and purpose to our lives. So let us cultivate vulnerability, empathy, honesty, and integrity in our relationships, and let us build bridges that connect us to one another in meaningful and profound ways. Chapter 9: The Power of Vulnerability. Vulnerability is a complex and multifaceted aspect of the human experience, often misunderstood and undervalued in our society. It's a concept that can evoke feelings of discomfort, fear, and uncertainty, yet it also holds the key to profound growth, connection, and authenticity. At its core, vulnerability is about embracing the full spectrum of our emotions and experiences, even when they make us feel exposed or fragile. It's about having the courage to show up as our authentic selves, flaws and all, and to engage with the world from a place of openness and honesty. In a culture that often prizes strength, resilience, and self-sufficiency above all else, vulnerability is frequently perceived as a weakness to be avoided at all costs. We're taught to armor ourselves against the possibility of pain or rejection, to keep our emotions tightly guarded behind a facade of stoicism and invulnerability. But the reality is that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, it's a testament to our humanity. It's what allows us to forge deep and meaningful connections with others, to empathize with their struggles, and to share in their joys. It's what enables us to cultivate intimacy in our relationships, to communicate authentically, and to foster trust and mutual respect. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we create space for true connection to flourish. We invite others to see us as we truly are, imperfect, fallible, and inherently worthy of love and acceptance. We break down the barriers that separate us from one another, and we discover that we are not alone in our struggles and insecurities. Moreover, vulnerability is essential for personal growth and self-discovery. It's through our willingness to embrace vulnerability that we confront our fears, challenge our limiting beliefs, and step outside of our comfort zones. It's what empowers us to take risks, pursue our passions, and pursue our dreams, even in the face of uncertainty or adversity. But perhaps most importantly, vulnerability is a path to greater self-compassion and self-acceptance. When we embrace our vulnerability, we acknowledge our own humanity and inherent worthiness, regardless of our perceived flaws or shortcomings. We learn to treat ourselves with kindness and compassion, to extend grace to ourselves in times of struggle, and to recognize that our worthiness is not contingent on external validation or approval. In essence, vulnerability is the cornerstone of authentic living. It's the key to unlocking our fullest potential and experiencing life with greater depth, richness, and meaning. So let us embrace our vulnerability, not as a weakness to be ashamed of, but as a source of strength, resilience, and courage. Let us dare to show up in the world with open hearts and open minds, ready to embrace all that life has to offer, knowing that our willingness to be vulnerable is what makes us truly human. Chapter 10: Embracing Imperfection. In a world that often seems obsessed with perfection, perfect bodies, perfect relationships, perfect lives, it can be all too easy to fall into the trap of striving for an unattainable ideal. We're bombarded with images and messages that tell us we should always be striving to be better, to look better, to do better, and that anything less than perfection is failure. But the truth is, Perfection is an illusion, a mirage that recedes further and further into the distance the more we chase after it. No matter how hard we try, we will never be perfect, and that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay, it's beautiful. Because it's our imperfections that make us human. It's our flaws and quirks, our rough edges and rough patches that give us depth and character. It's our mistakes and failures, our struggles and setbacks that teach us resilience and strength. And it's our willingness to embrace our imperfections, to own them and celebrate them, that sets us free from the relentless pursuit of perfection. When we let go of the need to be perfect, we create space for authenticity and vulnerability to flourish. We give ourselves permission to be flawed, to make mistakes, to fall down and get back up again. We learn to laugh at ourselves, to take ourselves less seriously, and to find beauty in our imperfections. Moreover, when we embrace our imperfections, we free ourselves from the tyranny of comparison. We recognize that we are all on our own unique journey, with our own unique strengths and weaknesses, and that there is no one-size-fits-all definition of success or happiness. We learn to appreciate the beauty in others without feeling threatened by their achievements or talents, and we find joy in celebrating their successes as well as our own. But perhaps most importantly, when we embrace our imperfections, we open ourselves up to a deeper sense of self-compassion and self-acceptance. We learn to treat ourselves with kindness and empathy, to forgive ourselves for our mistakes and shortcomings, and to love ourselves unconditionally, just as we are. So let us embrace our imperfections, not as signs of weakness or failure, but as badges of honor, reminders of our humanity and our inherent worthiness. Let us celebrate our flaws and quirks, our rough edges and rough patches, knowing that they are what make us truly beautiful, truly unique, truly human. And let us find joy and freedom in the knowledge that we are perfectly imperfect, just as we are. Chapter 11: Nurturing Genuine Connections. In a world where social media and technology often dominate our interactions, it's easy to feel more connected than ever while simultaneously feeling more isolated. We may have hundreds or even thousands of online friends and followers, yet still feel a profound sense of loneliness and disconnection. But the truth is, genuine connections are about quality, not quantity. It's not about how many friends or followers we have online, but about the depth and authenticity of our relationships. It's about feeling seen and heard, understood and valued by those who truly know and care about us. Nurturing genuine connections requires time, effort, and vulnerability. It means being willing to show up fully and authentically, to share our joys and sorrows, our triumphs and failures, with those who have earned our trust. It means being present and attentive, actively listening and empathizing to the experiences and emotions of others. And it means being willing to offer support and encouragement, compassion and kindness when it's needed most. But perhaps most importantly, nurturing genuine connections requires reciprocity, a give and take, a mutual exchange of trust and vulnerability that forms the foundation of true friendship. It's about being willing to give as much as we receive, to be there for others as much as they are there for us, to offer our time, attention, and love freely and without expectation of anything in return. When we nurture genuine connections, we create a sense of belonging and acceptance that is essential to our emotional well-being. We find comfort and solace in knowing that we are not alone, that we are supported and cared for by those who know and love us for who we truly are. And we experience the joy and fulfillment that comes from sharing our lives with others, from celebrating their successes and supporting them through their struggles. So let us prioritize nurturing genuine connections in our lives, both online and offline. Let us invest our time and energy in cultivating meaningful relationships with those who enrich our lives and uplift our spirits. And let us cherish the bonds of friendship and love that sustain us through life's ups and downs, knowing that true connection is one of the greatest gifts we can give and receive. Chapter 12: Overcoming the Fear of Vulnerability. vulnerability can be a daunting prospect. It requires us to open ourselves up, to expose our innermost thoughts and feelings, and to risk rejection or judgment from others. Yet, it is precisely through vulnerability that we forge deep and meaningful connections with others. For many of us, the fear of vulnerability stems from past experiences of hurt or rejection. We may have been taught to hide our true selves, to put up walls and defenses in order to protect ourselves from pain. But in doing so, we also cut ourselves off from the possibility of genuine connection and intimacy. Overcoming the fear of vulnerability begins with acknowledging and accepting our own humanity. We are all imperfect beings, with flaws and insecurities, and it is okay to show our vulnerabilities to others. In fact, it is often through our vulnerabilities that we find common ground with others and build bonds of empathy and understanding. It also involves challenging the beliefs and assumptions that underlie our fear of vulnerability. We may have internalized messages that vulnerability is a sign of weakness, or that we will be rejected or judged if we show our true selves. But the reality is that vulnerability is a strength. It takes courage and resilience to be open and authentic in a world that often values superficiality and perfection. One way to overcome the fear of vulnerability is to practice self-compassion. We can learn to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, and to embrace our vulnerabilities as a natural part of the human experience. By cultivating a sense of acceptance and self-worth, we can develop the confidence to show our true selves to others, knowing that we are worthy of love and belonging just as we are. Another important aspect of overcoming the fear of vulnerability is learning to trust others. This can be a gradual process, requiring us to take small steps and test the waters before fully opening up. But as we begin to share our vulnerabilities with those who have earned our trust, we often find that they respond with empathy and support, reinforcing our belief in the power of connection. Ultimately, overcoming the fear of vulnerability is about recognizing that true strength lies in our ability to be authentic and vulnerable with others. It is about embracing our humanity, with all its imperfections and uncertainties, and finding the courage to show up fully and authentically in our relationships. And it is about opening ourselves up to the possibility of deep and meaningful connections that enrich our lives and bring us joy and fulfillment. Chapter 13: The Power of Connection. In a world that often feels increasingly isolated and disconnected, the importance of genuine human connection cannot be overstated. Whether it's with friends, family, colleagues, or even strangers, our relationships with others play a crucial role in shaping our well-being and sense of belonging. At its core, human connection is about more than just sharing space with others or engaging in casual conversation. It's about feeling seen, heard, and understood. It's about feeling valued and accepted for who we truly are. When we experience genuine connection with others, we feel a sense of warmth and belonging that nourishes our souls and lifts our spirits. But genuine connection doesn't just happen on its own. It requires effort and intentionality on our part. It requires us to be present and engaged in our interactions with others, to listen deeply and empathetically, and to be willing to share our own thoughts and feelings openly and honestly. One of the keys to fostering genuine connection is vulnerability. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable with others, to share our fears, insecurities, and dreams, we invite them to do the same. This creates a space of mutual trust and understanding where authentic connection can flourish. Another important aspect of fostering genuine connection is empathy. Empathy involves not only understanding how others are feeling, but also sharing in their emotional experience and offering support and validation. When we approach our interactions with empathy and compassion, we create a sense of safety and acceptance that allows others to open up and connect with us on a deeper level. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to prioritize productivity and efficiency over connection and relationships. But the truth is that human connection is essential for our well-being and happiness. Research has shown that people who feel connected to others are happier, healthier, and live longer lives than those who don't. So how can we cultivate more meaningful connections in our lives? It starts with making time for the people who matter most to us, prioritizing quality time spent together over superficial interactions. It also involves being intentional about nurturing our relationships, whether through acts of kindness, words of affirmation, or simply being there for one another when times are tough. Ultimately, the power of connection lies in its ability to enrich our lives and bring us joy and fulfillment. By fostering genuine connections with others, we not only strengthen our social support networks, but also deepen our sense of belonging and purpose in the world. And in a world that often feels fragmented and disconnected, genuine human connection is more valuable than ever before. Chapter 14: Embracing Solitude. In a world that often glorifies busyness and constant social interaction, the idea of solitude can seem intimidating or even undesirable. However, embracing solitude can be a powerful practice that allows us to cultivate self-awareness, creativity, and inner peace. Solitude is not about being lonely or isolated, it's about intentionally spending time alone to reflect, recharge, and reconnect with ourselves. In today's hyper-connected world, finding moments of solitude can be challenging, but it's essential for our mental and emotional well-being. One of the benefits of solitude is that it gives us the opportunity to tune out the noise of the world and listen to our own thoughts and feelings. When we're constantly surrounded by others and bombarded by external stimuli, it can be difficult to hear our inner voice. But in moments of solitude, we can quiet the external chatter and listen to the wisdom of our own hearts and minds. Solitude also allows us to recharge our energy and replenish our mental and emotional reserves. In today's fast-paced world, we're often so busy meeting the demands of work, family, and social life that we neglect our own needs for rest and relaxation. But spending time alone gives us the chance to rest, recharge, and restore our energy so that we can show up as our best selves in all areas of our lives. Furthermore, solitude can be a powerful catalyst for creativity and innovation. When we're alone with our thoughts, we are free to explore new ideas, make connections, and problem-solve in ways that we might not be able to in a group setting. Many great thinkers, artists, and innovators throughout history have credited solitude as a key ingredient in their creative process. Of course, embracing solitude doesn't mean completely disconnecting from the world or cutting ourselves off from others. It's about finding a balance between social interaction and time spent alone. Just as we need social connection to thrive, we also need moments of solitude to nourish our souls and cultivate inner peace. In today's world, where we're constantly bombarded by distractions and demands on our time, carving out moments of solitude can be challenging. But it's worth making the effort to prioritize solitude in our lives, even if it's just for a few minutes each day. Whether it's taking a quiet walk in nature, meditating, journaling, or simply enjoying a cup of tea in silence, finding moments of solitude can have profound benefits for our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. By embracing solitude, we can cultivate a deeper sense of self-awareness, creativity, and inner peace that enriches every aspect of our lives. So let's embrace the beauty of solitude and make space for quiet reflection and self-discovery in our busy lives. Chapter 15: The Power of Connection Beyond Physical Presence. While solitude has its undeniable benefits, it's equally important to recognize the power of connection even when physical presence is lacking. In today's digital age, we have more ways than ever to connect with others, whether it's through social media, video calls, or messaging apps. And while these forms of communication may not replicate the intimacy of face-to-face interaction, they still hold immense value in fostering meaningful connections. In times when physical distance separates us from our loved ones, technology serves as a bridge that allows us to maintain and nurture our relationships. Whether we're catching up with a friend on a video call, sending a heartfelt message to a family member, or joining a virtual gathering with colleagues, these digital connections help us feel less alone and more supported, even when we're miles apart. Moreover, the digital realm opens up opportunities for connection that transcend geographical boundaries and time zones. Through online communities and social platforms, we can find like-minded individuals who share our interests, passions, and values. These virtual communities provide a sense of belonging and camaraderie, allowing us to forge meaningful connections with people from all walks of life. Additionally, technology enables us to stay informed and engaged with global events and issues, fostering a sense of empathy and solidarity with others around the world. Whether it's sharing news articles, participating in online discussions, or supporting causes through digital activism, our digital connections allow us to be part of something bigger than ourselves, contributing to positive change and collective action. It's important to recognize that while digital connections offer many benefits, they also come with their own set of challenges. The digital world can sometimes feel overwhelming, with constant notifications and distractions vying for our attention. Moreover, online communication lacks the nuances of in-person interaction, making it easier for misunderstandings to arise. Despite these challenges, the power of digital connection lies in our ability to adapt and leverage technology to enhance our relationships and support networks. By prioritizing quality over quantity, being intentional in our digital interactions, and practicing empathy and understanding, we can cultivate deep and meaningful connections that transcend physical boundaries. Ultimately, whether we're connecting in person or online, what matters most is the quality of our relationships and the sincerity of our connections. By embracing both solitude and digital connection, we can cultivate a rich tapestry of relationships that nourish our souls and enrich our lives, even in the absence of physical presence. So let's cherish the connections we have, whether near or far, and continue to foster meaningful relationships in every form they take. As we conclude this journey into the realm of friendships and connections, let us reflect on the profound realization that the lack of physical proximity does not diminish the strength of our bonds. In the absence of friends physically by our side, we discover the depth of our digital connections and the resilience of our human spirit. So, dear listeners, as you navigate the ebbs and flows of life, remember that true friendship knows no bounds. Whether near or far, in solitude or through digital connection, may you always find solace in the warmth of genuine companionship and the knowledge that you are never truly alone on this journey. Until we meet again, embrace the power of connection, cherish the moments of solitude, and let the light of friendship guide you through the darkest of times. For in the tapestry of life, it is the threads of connection that weave the most beautiful stories. Goodbye for now, dear friends, and may your hearts be filled with the love and warmth of those who journey with you, both near and far.